Your job as a hiring person is to sell your company and to sell the opportunity. The first question you have to ask yourself, how do you want your money to perform? The rich invest their money and the poor spend their money. There are simple things that you can do that set you up for success. The first interview you call, and you either try to have that first conversation right when you call, or you schedule it if they're unavailable, but they did make the cut. You schedule something, and the first interview is a 15 to 20 minute conversation, no more, no less. 15 minutes. Well, it can be less. If you discover that they ain't gonna fit, cut it short. Don't waste your time. Okay? They're not gonna know that they're not a fit. You're gonna know that they're not a fit if you've identified your core values, you get into the conversation and you realize, wow, this is gonna be a complete waste of time. And so just cut the interview short. 15 to 20 minutes on average for an applicant that you figure out, okay, this is kind of reasonable. The goal of this conversation is to do two things. The goal is for you to hear them communicate and tell you what they are looking for. So get an insight into their goals, into their background, into who they are a little bit. You just want to hear them talk. And the other goal is for you to share the position and what they're applying for. Okay? Your job as a hiring person is to sell your company and to sell the opportunity. Okay? If you see good, great talent and you want them, and you're not sure yet. You're not sure in a 15-minute conversation, but they've made the cut and they don't sound too bad. Your job is to sell the opportunity and to sell you and your company. And yet, what I do at the same time is I say, here's what the job entails. Because I want to be completely transparent and I want you to know if you're applying for a position with me or my company, I want you to know what the job entails so that you can evaluate and decide it's not right for you. Because if I tell you that the job entails, X, Y, Z, 1, 2, 3, these bullet point items, and you say, oh man, I don't think that that's right for me, you just saved me and you just saved yourself a whole bunch of time. If there's a connection, if there's a link, you're gonna move them to the second interview. Now the second interview is gonna be an in-person interview. The first one is over the phone. Now, if you're hiring a remote team, the second interview is going to be either via Skype, going to be via GoToMeeting, going to be through some video conferencing, or preferably if they're local, in your office or at a Starbucks or wherever that situation warrants. But it's a face-to-face or a video conferencing type of a deal. Don't cut this short. You've got to see the person, you've got to see their mannerisms, you've got to be able to read body language, you've got to be able to see them through this process and get to know them and let them see and get to know you as well too. The second interview is diving deeper into their background and their history and their process and what they've done and talking about things that have gone well in their career and things that have been a struggle in their career and how did they handle things in their career and other team member interactions, and it's talking about all of these things. It's also talking about the core values. So in the first interview, I asked most applicants to go read our core values. And on the second interview, so first one 15 minutes, the second one face-to-face, one of the questions I ask them is, hey, so what did you think about our core values? If they did what I asked them to do, they're gonna say, oh, I thought it was great. In particular, any of them stand out to you, in particular XYZ, right? So they can at least talk about it. Yeah, I went to your webpage and I read them and I really liked it. It sounded really good. If they didn't do the job, if they didn't go look at the core values as one of my only instructions on that first 15-minute interview, and they can't come back and communicate to me that they did it and that they either liked or disliked the core values, where am I at from a hiring standpoint, communicating and working with this person to move them along? Because I don't create culture, I hire culture. I determine what I want the culture to be, and I bring people into the business that are already aligned in that thinking. The core values are already there. So interview number 2, in person, this can last anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour. Okay, 30 minutes to an hour, just depending on how the flow is going. Did they do that core value review, talking through that kind of stuff, talking more about the position, getting feedback from them, hearing about their past experiences, diving in. Now, if I'm hiring a salesperson at this point, at this moment in time, now this is sales specific, but what's the first person from part 1 that you have to hire? It's acquisitions, it's a salesperson. What's the third person you have to hire? A dispositions, it's a salesperson. One of my favorite things to do is in this first face-to-face interview, as we get in, about 15 or 20 minutes in, here's what I'll do to them. I'll say something like this. Hey, Jim, I got to be honest with you, man, we are looking for rock stars to join our team, like proven sales rock stars. And I got to be honest with you, I'm not totally feeling it. And then I just shut up. And I sit there. Because one of two things is going to happen. Either they're going to say, oh, I'm sorry. What could I do better? Man, maybe this isn't right for me. Or they're going to say, listen, dude, I don't know what conversation you've been in for the last 15 minutes, but I am the perfect guy for this job, which is exactly why I submitted my cover letter and told you, and I've continued to sell you on exactly why I'm the perfect guy this entire time. So I'm not sure what you're hearing, but you're wrong. Response 1, response 2. Which guy are you looking for? Or gal are you looking for? You're looking for the person that will fight back and say, no, you're wrong. Because if they can't handle rejection in the interview and they just believe you and they cower away, they're never going to be able to sell anything. Now that's sales specific, right? If I'm hiring an executive assistant, if I'm hiring a bookkeeper, if I'm hiring administrative, if I'm hiring different people, then I'm not going to do that. But that's one of my favorite things to do when I'm hiring sales. And sales is the lifeblood of any business. Sales is the lifeblood of any business. So the most important hires that you're going to make are salespeople, because when salespeople are producing revenue for you, you as the business owner get to run the business.